नमस्कार, वेलकम विजय त्रिवेदी जी। आपका स्वागत है हमारे सभी दर्शकों के साथ। और जून के महीने में जब योग के बारे में विशेष रूप से पूरे संसार का ध्यान जाना प्रारंभ करता है, तो वी रिक्वेस्टेड यू टू टॉक अबाउट मेडिटेशन और ध्यान. And before we move into the subject right away, allow me also to mention that you are not just a yoga practitioner. You have been teaching yoga selflessly for many, many years, and being an engineer and an entrepreneur, and that's a different side of your life. But this is, call it your passion or commitment or love, whatever it is. But let's dive into the subject right away. You consider dhyana and meditation denotes two different things, is it?
See, many words don't have the exact replica in English. Meditation and dhyan. Well, for a common person, it may be same, but I think for a dhyani, dhyan is slightly different than meditation. I would rather go into the subject of dhyan, and then later on we will talk about what meditation is slightly different than dhyan. So let's focus more on dhyan first.
Okay, so let me mention ध्यान. जैसे हम स्कूल में जाते थे तब भी कहते थे भाई तुम ध्यान नहीं दे रहे हो, दैट मीन्स यू आर नॉट अटेंडिंग टू, मैं जो कह रहा हूँ उसको सुन नहीं रहे हो ढंग से. वो ध्यान और जिस ध्यान की बात हम कर रहे हैं उसमें बेसिक क्या चीज है जो दोनों को डिफरेंशिएट करती है?
सी, हमारा जो अटेंशन शब्द बोलते हैं, हाँ, वो ध्यान है in our day-to-day behavior. But when it comes dhyan on a spiritual path, is not about attention. It is about being one with what you are attending.
Beautiful.
The one is about attending something. The other is about being one with what you are attending. So dhyan in terms of spirituality is a way of you really merging with what you are around. आप अस्तित्व के साथ जब मिल जाते हैं तो उसको ध्यान कहते हैं.
This is a very profound statement, Vijayji, and many of us would find it difficult to understand. So I'll kind of seek your indulgence in elaborating on it. कि जो जिस पे ध्यान दे रहे हो उसमें मिल जाते हैं, how that happens. और फिर again, forgive me for bringing the other side. तो अगर मिल गए तो वापस बाहर कैसे आओगे? That also kindly share your take.
So let's begin with see, understanding dhyan or defining dhyan or talking on the subject of dhyan is always, I would say, meeting two contradictions. One is whatever you say about dhyan is not enough. Another is you be silent, you don't say anything, and still it's enough. It's a two contradiction which is meeting, but I'll still make an attempt to explain. Dhyan is a journey of realizing eternal and infinite. Now, I will take an example. We all talk about inclusiveness, right? Dhyan is about inclusiveness. That's the one aspect of Dhyan. But I'll throw some light on inclusiveness. So, Dhyan is not about the inclusiveness what a common person understands. You want to include something means you're telling something is not part of you. You want to get it and include yourself. So there is a distinction between you and what you are trying to include. In Dhyan, the inclusiveness is you belong to something which is already existing. You are not trying to include, you are belonging to what is there right now. That when you become a part of what is there right now, you are including yourself into existence. So there is a two separate thing. One is something is different than you and you're trying to include. Here you are there, which is already existing, but you are developing an awareness that, oh, you are part of the whole existence. That is inclusiveness. Now, Dhyan is a journey from you trying to own something to you belonging to everything. When you start belonging to everything around, you are dhyani. There is no separate existence and there is nothing to include. It is just about developing an awareness, waking up from our sleep that, oh, I am part of the whole existence. That is Dhyan.
So, Vijayji, where you have brought us with this clear exposition of what dhyana is, some of us who could follow you, they feel very uplifted, elated. There are some who have different set of questions running parallel to the idea that you belong to the whole and eternity and or infinite and these kind of words, and their mind is telling them that no, I'm separate, I'm like this much, and the whole is beyond my comprehension, so how do I belong, etc. So if you care to address this sort of a mindset which is not willing to accept that he's a part of the whole, and what can they do to sort of be a dhyani?
The first of all is all doing is a part of mind. Whenever you talk about doing something, you are not really going towards dhyan, you are going away from the dhyan. Because dhyan is not about doing anything, dhyan is about waking from the sleep that I am separate. So it's all about, now you will say, what is to be done? There is only one thing is to be done, is to wake up from our sleep the illusion that I am separate from the whole existence. I'll give you an example. See, dhyan is also a flow state. आप बोलेंगे what is flow? You look at a brook. You look at a brook, you see the rocks, you see the water flowing, you see the trees, you see the bird chirping. That is a symphony. The symphony is created by each element by just being there. They are not doing anything. All these elements are not trying to create a symphony. They are just being there. Now, when you go there and you become the part of this symphony, you get into dhyan. So the whole existence is not about doing. Only human beings are about working and doing and trying to get somewhere to experience something. Every other species in the entire universe is just existing. They are in harmony with what is there right now, because we have this belief that we got to do something to get something. This is the main obstacle for us to get into dhyan.
So what you are saying, it raises a lot of questions. Is it not one that human or this species that we are is considered the best creation among other species? Then also we are many times listening that we have conquered the nature, so we as human race figured out use of fire, then we have roof, and now you have AC, and now moving towards artificial intelligence, all that. So that is one way we evaluate and mark the path of our development or growth. What you are saying is so just existing is not enough, is very much deeply ingrained in us. And there might be multiple discussions on that, but let me come back to dhyana. So what you are saying, someone listening to this conversation would feel that this is impractical, because let's say I'm a doctor, I have to do this, or I'm engineer, whatever profession they are in, and they have to make money or take care of their shareholders, if for their company, whatever it is. So your mind is operating on a level which you perhaps are not accepting the way they perceive it. Kindly say something something about it.
Okay, so in fact, I was to address this, but now you brought it, so it's very interesting. So what I am telling is that just being in harmony with the existence is dhyan. This concept of doing something, going somewhere and getting something is the biggest obstacle for the dhyan. Now you will say that all this progress we have made is because of we are doing this or we are doing that. There is absolutely nothing wrong in doing. The concept that by doing something, you will get something, you achieve something, and after that you will become happy. This is the main issue with the humankind. All other species learn how to just become happy and express their happiness in whatever they are doing. They are not waiting to be happy. They are first happy, and then because they are in tune with the nature, they express their happiness in terms of whatever they do. A bird is singing not because somebody is listening. The bird is so happy within because it is in tune with the whole nature. Bird wants to express how happy a bird is, whether one person is listening, nobody is listening, or hundreds of them are listening. The singing doesn't change. We do everything just to prove on the external or just to accomplish something, and only when we are accomplished we become happy. So we are in a process of delaying our happiness. Dhyan is a process in which you first experience that your existence itself is a bliss, a joy, a happiness. And then you express this happiness in whatever you do. You imagine how the world will become when everybody is going out there to express their happiness rather than trying to become happy.
That's
One
beautiful. Yeah.
is just like putting a cart before the horse or putting the horse behind the cart. What we are doing is putting the cart before the horse. And that's why the horse is struggling, where to go.
So let's accept what you said. When I say let's accept, meaning some of our viewers may not accept it really, but to move forward, let us. I mean, allow me to mention this as assume. Let us assume
I
what you are saying.
will give you for something more before we move further.
Sure.
So see what happens. Let's examine the process of happiness. Right? We aim to have something. It can be an object, it can be a situation, it can be an individual. And then what happens that we get it, like let's say we wanted a house, we become very happy, huh? All the comforts we enjoy, but after a few years the same house doesn't give you the same happiness. So what happened, when you got the house, there was a state of mind. The mind wanted a balanced state. When you get the house, it comes in a balance and you feel happy. But that balance is changing over a period of time. And once again, the mind is looking for something else. So a stage comes where you keep moving from one to another thing, but mind is never in balance. The happiness was experienced because of the mind coming into a balance. If you learn how to go into that balanced state without object, individual, or situation, that is called dhyan.
So
So learning how to be balanced, not getting attached to your likes or your dislikes, and being in an equanimity state or equanimous state is happiness. That is what is dhyan. If you really learn how to get into that balance, techniques can be hundreds, thousands, millions. But the generic understanding, the generic state is you getting into that balance. That is Dhyan.
So now, what you just said reminds me of
I
Srimad
address
Bhagavad Gita.
your question correctly or no?
Let me weave on what I heard from you just now.
Okay.
So there is no answer and there is no question. This is a flow. This is a flow, I would say.
Yes.
But I was hearing echo of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, and especially in the 12th chapter where we hear that sama shatraucha mitraicha tatha manapmanyo, and that evenness of mind is very much the problem. Call it a problem, or the question is how to attain that state. And for that, I think dhyana is one way to go. But then you say that dhyana is not doing anything. So what to do is the question that would come to some of us: how we get to that balanced state of mind which you have just hinted about.
So what we are talking now, to be very precise about your question, is how to get into abhyas of Dhyan.
Yes.
That is different than Dhyan. Dhyan itself and the abhyas of Dhyan, they are two different aspects. So when you say abhyas, means we are talking about the technique, how to really. So the techniques can be many. The one which I have mastered and which was taught by my guru, we called is as a samadhi dhyan, means bringing your intellect and mind in a balanced state where you are neither the slave of your likes nor you are hating your dislikes. So the part of the technique where we talk, I will explain you. It's very simple. You heard all the time Brahma, Satya, Jagat, Mithya. Have you heard or not?
Yes, yes.
Right? So when we mean, what we mean by Brahma is self. Dhyan is a process of experiencing that we are eternal and infinite. That is what is Brahman. The Jagat means ever changing. Whatever is changing in every moment is Jagat. Right? The struggle of the mind is trying to hold the chain, which is never going to happen. Now, this Jagat is created by our thoughts. Our world is what our thoughts are.
Yes.
Whatever thoughts we are getting is our world. My world is different than your world. But myself and yourself are same. Now, when you create a abhyas, that you learn that this self, start observing the changing world as a drashta, become a sakshi. Whatever is changing, you start observing it as a sakshi without getting carried away. That's where dhyan starts. Your abhyas begins when you start seeing that all the thoughts are creating my world, and if you break them down for practice, there are 4 types of things happening with your thoughts. We are sitting in the dhyan and then we try to reject the thoughts. Any thought comes, we are trying to stop it. So what will happen? More thoughts. The moment you try to stop something, the mind is going to attack you, the more thoughts. The first tip is do not try to reject the thoughts. Just be a drashta. The second is generally what we do is we follow the thoughts. We pursue the thoughts. For doing something, we always follow the thoughts. So here you are becoming sakshi. You do not follow the thoughts. Then you are trying to hold good thoughts. See, the best thoughts comes in the toilet. We don't So our mind wants to hold on. So do not hold the thoughts. And the last is do not try to create something effortfully in your mind. When these four things you see as a Shakshi, your Abhyas as a Brahma, Satya, Jagat, Mithya becomes, becomes, when you master this, you are Dhyani. It's not going to happen overnight. The mind, which has been your boss, is not going to surrender overnight. Mind wants to be you as a slave. The self wants to take over the mind by becoming Sakshi. And when you start developing this, initially, you have to consciously do this abhyas. A stage will come that this will start happening. You play every role. You start expressing your happiness in whatever you are doing. But you are not affected. You become a Sakshi to what all the roles. As an engineer, I'm playing a role. As an entrepreneur, I'm playing a role. As a friend, I'm playing a role. As a father, all the roles are the part of my expression, just like a bird singing a song. So, when you are very well established in your own Brahman, in your own self, the roles in the world, they are just a play, not the struggle to create anything you really are waiting for you to be happy. So there is a shift from trying to be happy to first be happy and express that in your roles. This is how the whole thing goes. I hope I answered about the technique too.
Yeah. I think where you have brought us is a beautiful place, and again, as you mentioned, it's not a 2 minute noodle type thing. It's not going to happen overnight, but it is worth pursuing to arrive at a state where whatever you are doing is an expression of your happiness. So this is a different way. Many we have actually a film also in the pursuit of happiness, etc. And we consider it is something for which we have to long and run, etc. The way you are putting it, it empowers us by sharing that assurance, age old assurance, that you are already happy, that you are blissful, and whatever you do, that should express this joy within. I get it. And again, as we conclude this conversation, some of us would think, is it practical to take that Sakshi Bhav? Because I'm expected to behave in certain fashion. My reaction would determine the way I'm perceived, whether I'm a politician or whatever it is. And also sometimes it is driven by ego, because we feel if I don't set the score right, then they won't consider me worthy of being where I am. So, very briefly, some thoughts on this, and then we conclude.
See, everybody who is a spiritual practitioner, they will tell you ego is bad. I'm telling you, there is no person in this world without ego, whether he is spiritual or he is not spiritual. Ego is a drive for you to play your role in the world. Without ego, you are not going to play any role. Here, the problem is not about doing or not doing. Here is the problem is about you becoming unaware that that is only a limited role you have chosen to play. That's not what you are. You are forgetting that you are a unbounded Brahman self, which have accepted willingly by choice a particular role, and that role, if you play happily, whatever is the outcome is not going to affect your happiness. But this is not one time. That awareness is a continuous thing, and that is what the abhyas will bring you. The abhyas will get you a state that you are continuously aware that this role I have selected, this role I have selected, this role I have selected. I'm playing it because I have chosen to play it, not because it is being imposed on me. All the stress in the life is all about because we feel it's imposed on us. We start with choosing, but then we lose the awareness that this was chosen by us only. Nobody has imposed on us. And a stage comes that we are so much bound by all these things that now whatever the infinite self was is feeling so much suffocated that it loses its original essence of being happy for no reason.
Beautiful. And it is not for no reason that I thank you profusely for bringing this awareness through this conversation, which is backed by your own experience and the way you have fashioned your life, so it becomes even more profound, impactful. And I'm very elated that we had this conversation. And I think we need repeatedly to be clear about how and what and with what intent we do. And I think dhyana is that constant awareness without efforts if I also add that. So we'll have more conversations about yoga and meditation with Vijay, but I sincerely thank you and I express my grateful
So,
pronouncement.
just concluding, Dhyan is not the ordinary attention, what we think is Dhyan. Dhyan is about experiencing that you are part of the whole system. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachire Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. That is Dhyan.
Thank you. Namaste.